AFL-CIO President Mark Gaffney is with us live from Washington, D.C. this morning. Happy that the man the AFL-CIO backed. Virg Bernero, the 46-year-old mayor of the city of Lansing, is the Democratic nominee in the race for governor. Good morning again, Mr. Gaffney. How are you?
Good morning, Michael Patrick. Well, we're very happy this morning.
Mayor Bernero has not been always the favorite of various unions. How come the AFL-CIO decided to back him?
We saw a clear difference between Virg Bernero and Andy Dillon and the way that they govern and the way that they were going to work to solve the problems of the state. And I think we chose well, and I think we chose right. We're very proud of Virgil Bernero this morning. He closed up, what was a 30% margin in about 3 weeks. It was a fabulous run.
Yeah, closed the margin and then took leaps and bounds over House Speaker Andy Dillon and now has momentum. Have you heard yet from the candidate by telephone? Did he call to say thanks?
Oh, I put in a ring to him last night. I'm sure he was very busy. I'm on the other side of the country. I bet we'll catch up today.
And tell me again why, if you're, let's say, everybody moves back toward the middle, don't they? When it comes to the general election, they start out, in polar opposites in the primary and they go get the flank and that sort of thing. But now they're going to move to the middle. If there's an undecided voter right now, because after all, the opponent, Rick Snyder, is not exactly an arch conservative, why should the undecided middle ground centrist voters choose Virg Bernero over Rick Snyder?
Virg Bernero has balanced a municipal budget over and over again as mayor of the city of Detroit. Virg Bernero has negotiated with unions to bring cost savings to that city. He's run a police force. He's run all of the things that run a city, and he's been part of running the state as being a former legislator. So he has experience. He has experience over Rick Snyder in government. Look, it's very hard to come in from the outside and take over state government. It is not like running a business, and frankly, there's plenty of folks who don't really agree with the phrase, we ought to run government like a business. Businesses run for profit. Governments run for the people of the state. So I think Virgil has a better handle on that.
All right, thank you very much. We'll talk again along the way, sir. We appreciate your time this morning.
Well, thank you.
Mark Gaffney, the president of the AFL-CIO. Let's go to Ed Sarpolous, in fact, with the Michigan Education Association, and he is one of the state's leading pollsters as well. Good morning, Ed. How are you?
I'm doing fine. This is a very bright sunny day after, actually what was going to be started off an early night, as I told you last night, the first poll you had Andy Dillon up, and I said, don't believe those numbers.
Well, yeah, that was very early, and now obviously we see the morning after that it was a decisive victory for Virg Bernero. What do you make of Mark Gaffney's comments there that it's naive, it sounds like, to think that somebody like Rick Snyder, an outsider, can walk in and actually govern on day one, given the learning curve that he's going to have, and not only that, but the massive number of new members, especially in the House, that are going to need a quick education, aren't they?
Well, that's actually very true. Over the last, since term limits has come into place, it's been very difficult for a new member of the legislature to where to go. Matter of fact, you have legislators asking people in the audience for help. How do you run the committee? Where do I go? Asking advice. It is very difficult. And so if a new incumbent governor does not have the experience, he's got to hopefully he builds a team to guide him, and hopefully it's the right team he picks in order to solve Michigan's problem.
How do the teachers get along with Virg Bernero?
They get along with him very well. His wife is an ex-teacher. She's a principal of the school. She has an understanding of education. Virg Bernero, kids are in public school, so we get along very well with Virg Bernero because he has a tradition of being involved in public education, including his wife.
What do you think is going to happen now in the 1st Congressional District? By some reports say that Jason Allen, the state senator, and Dr. Banashek there, Dan Banashek, are as little as a vote apart.
Well, that's a rarity. I mean, I've been involved in recounts where there's 6 votes, different votes, but 1 vote?
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be a very long recount because, first of all, they're going to have to value. You have Associated Press saying there's a 12-point difference. You've got Jason Allen talking about he's up by 27. You've got the other one up by 49. This is going to be a very interesting recount. And this could have multiple recounts because each one's going to challenge the results.
And how long does that take? Because Gary McDowell, the Democratic candidate for that job, remember, this is a Democratic seat we're talking about, Bart Stupak. is unopposed, and so he's got free reign now to campaign while these two are going to be in limbo for how long?
Well, that could it could be a couple of weeks as long. The quicker thing is, as soon as the Board of Canvassers certify the results of what they do know, that process will get. As a matter of fact, they're already sealing the equipment. They're getting their attorneys. They're getting their challenges together. Hopefully, here within the next couple of weeks, we'll have this all resolved.
I knew there'd be a hanging Chad somewhere in this primary. I had a feeling it was coming. I just did. Are you surprised?
Well, as a matter of fact, one funny thing, is because of the rural nature of the fact, there were some issues whether a modem went down, whether or not results were getting to the county clerk. So there's a lot of issues up that they're going to have to be resolved.
Wow. Tim Walberg decisively beats Brian Rooney and Marvin Carlson in the 7th district there, the congressional district. He's going to get a rematch against Mark Schauer. Does the landslide for Walberg in that race surprise you?
No, it does not. Rooney, though he had the money, he wasn't from the community. He was struggling with name ID and having a base of vote to step from. There's questions on how conservative he was. I would say that the mood was Walberg. The interesting for Mark Schauer, I think Mark Schauer looks forward to Walberg because of the fact he knows how to campaign against him, and that's what Schauer obviously has. He knows what he's going to be doing now between now and November.
Sun is certainly setting on the Kilpatrick empire, isn't it? Carolyn Cheeks Kilpatrick lost to Hanson Clark. She's been a 7-term congresswoman from the Detroit area there, and a lot of people think it was the legal troubles of her son, the mayor, that sunk her eventually.
It did. It actually, if you look at the polling data and the results of polling data and the open-ended questions, their remarks basically said it was the impact of the son's troubles that was passed on to his mother, and that's the reason why she lost.
Well, if we were to have a poll this morning, I mean, how fast will we get a poll of Bernero versus Snyder and see how that shakes out?
Well, I will tell you the fact that's probably already going to be, and then the question will be who will be releasing that survey. I would say the initial surveys that are going to be done will be done by the campaigns and the parties, and they'll probably be leaked. And I would assume here within the next 2 or 3 weeks, you'll see either an independent poll being done or a media poll being released. So those are already in the works.
What's your gut on what it would look like?
I would say that early polls would have Snyder up. Bernero is still an unknown quantity with name recognition. Because remember, most of what Bernero did in his ads and in the ads of Labor was to define Andy Dillon, was not to define Verge Bernero. So I would say the initial polls would have Snyder up.
Well, all it takes is money, right?
It does. And also you have to have a message. Both Bernero and Rick Snyder had a message. It was appealing to those that showed up yesterday.
All right, Ed Sarpolous, thank you very much for the chat this morning. Always good to talk with you and get your unique perspective. 30 minutes after the hour.